Greetings gamers, welcome to part 35 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 9 Path of Radiance, and in today's episode I have very much to do, including KOing some enemies here so that I can get moving. This chapter is not long once you have completed the task of removing the ravens from the vicinity. Now, one of the many reasons why I made this bow, quite the powerful bow, is because Shinon, when he first rejoins you, is quite the weak unit, and he's going to take a lot to get him to the point where he is actually strong. I do have quite a lot of units that need healing. I see another target for Shinon, which is going to be very nice. I think I can KO you. Yes, I can. Perfect. This is going to be the last thing Leith is going to be able to do this turn, which is, well, for a little while, I should say. Not really this turn, which is okay. And a little bit of thunder slung your way by Tormod. Always a wonderful thing to see, because that just means his thunder rank is going to go up as is necessary. Now, granted, I will gladly admit that because I decided to... Wow, he's already got B rank. That's nice. Because I decided to use the boltings on the previous chapter's magical long-range tomes, I don't have them for this chapter, and because I don't have technically flying units of any good measure, I'm not really going to be able to go up here and take care of this guy. If Janoff, by the time I'm over there, is ready to do that, I could potentially see myself allowing Janoff to go up there and do something about it, but it's not very likely. Ike needs experience points too. Just gonna sling a hand axe your way. I do believe I have a couple of units that might need healing. Okay, Devdan for sure. Okay, Devdan's the only one I can see at this moment. So he's going to get healed. And of course, let's gather all these units up and chant. And because Rayson has the wonderful Night Ring, he can now Canto, which is incredibly strong. It really is incredibly strong. I am going to then attack you. Don't really need the marked bow, but I don't really have a weaker bow to use. A less valuable bow, I should say. The Galzus. And this guy has a killer axe. So what I'm going to do is spend a little bit of my Sonic Sword just to KO him. Get him thoroughly out of the way, because you don't really want to deal with enemies that have killer weapons. Plus, you get the killer axe, which is always a great boon. Yep, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Kilvis has betrayed us. I think a bandit would be more accurate, but... Idiot, it's the same thing. Urgh, yeah, cursed subhumans. We should have never trusted them. Interesting, to say the least. One shot? Yes. One shot. This archer stood no chance of doing anything significant to Mist in any way, shape, or form. I do believe this is a defeat boss chapter. The last chapter was a route chapter. Going to be finding out very much momentarily whether that's the case. Yes, it's a defeat boss. So some will take the idea that, you know, you could just go ahead and defeat... Alright, can you move here? If you defeat Naysala, you're good to go. That's not the case. You actually do have to defeat Homasa. It is not Naysala, whom is the man by which you must finish off in this chapter. He is not the actual boss. He is kind of like the semi-boss. Boss enough for me. It's why I typically always do this. It is just a good idea all around. Yeah, so this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can move safely here. And then I can start attacking these yahoos over here. Wow, nice miss. Very nice miss. Brave bow, 11 times 2. Nice, he crit. Always appreciated. Especially because the problem with Shinon right now is he is woefully inept compared to the rest of my units, which is okay. That's part of the problem with him late joining as he does. Yeah, so there's a couple of things worth stealing in this chapter. I don't find them all that necessary to gather myself. I cannot wait until he has the other Smite Scroll. Yeah, so for instance, Homasa here has an elixir. A silver sword you could technically steal. You can't really, actually, because he has 20 speed. He is given 20 speed, so on purpose, so that you could not possibly have a thief of any kind that could steal that. I hate this. I really hate this. It's one of those things that I just don't appreciate, even remotely. Balance and all. And that's really the end-all, be-all of why something like that is done in a chapter like this or in this game. Oh, we must balance the game, because if it's unbalanced, the game's not going to be fun. Ooh, you can break the game. Ooh, that's evil. Totally different mindsets between the intelligence systems of old and the intelligence systems of mid. I would say this is the middle intelligence systems, because the new intelligence systems, they're unrecognizable from either. It's just kind of insane. Smite. Shove. And another shove. Perfect. Is this necessary? No. Is it going to give him a lot of experience points? No. Is it going to give him weapon experience points? Absolutely not. But it is something funny that I can do, and I did it. Alright, as long as Tormod doesn't KO here, this is going to be a KO for Shinon. A rank in Thunder already. Impressive. I truly, and I mean truly, would not have ever guessed that I would reach A rank in Thunder this quick. And it's kind of a joy to me, because Thunder magic is the best magic in this particular game, and here you can see why I love Shinon. That is a typical level for him. That's not atypical at all, in the slightest. So what I can do right now, and I am very tempted on doing it, is just KOing the boss. I think I'm going to do just that, actually. So how I'm going to do this, so that I don't have to deal with the ballista, is I am going to chant for 4 units and then swarm him. Now, he does have the Sonic Sword equipped, So I do have to be mindful of that as well. This is a little bit of experience points. It seems more a waste than anything, but it's okay. Rayson has more than enough movement. In fact, even if he didn't, let's say he wasn't transformed, I could have shoved him here. I think he would have still had enough movement anyway. I cannot believe Rayson gets 3 movement upon transformation. That's a wild thing. So, only has 5 movement untransformed without the boots. That's a vast difference. Very vast. So this guy does have a chance to crit. If he were to crit twice, Devdan would actually perish here. Not something I technically want to deal with. But don't really want to blow the set here either, and it's not because I don't want to use it. I will use this tome whenever it is necessary, but the reason being is because I kind of don't want the chance to crit him. My sword is lightning. Do you think you can follow its dance? Homasa, your sword is wind, not lightning, friend. I'm almost 100% certain that this man is the reason why the idea behind using a Forged 11 sword in Fire Emblem 11 became so popular. Though, being honest with you, I actually just have always thought it was a good idea in that game particularly. And the reason why that is because it's... Tormod is here, so I might... Yeah, there's still that crit chance, but the reason why that is because nobody has resistance in that game. So even if you have like a very low attack, a low magic swords master in that game, likely you're going to double, you're going to crit. It's just a smart idea. Alright, so now I have to get some damage in on this enemy. Okay, so Mist is not doubling, and also there is no crit potential against her, which is nice. She cannot crit also, which is also nice, because I want Ike to take this KO. And then I guess I can try the Killer Lance. Yes, nice. Extra experience points for Devdan. Not much, but more than a little. Your fighting style is unique. It is rough and awkward, yet terribly strong. Who is your teacher? My father. Really? Then we are the same. My father taught me to wield a sword as well. Neither of us can afford to lose. The shame. The shame of losing to an inexperienced commander and sword fighter. Man, he just keeps getting resistance. Awesome, I'm not complaining, that's for sure. We won. Somehow. It's because you did an excellent job of driving off the Ravens. Yeah, if we had continued to fight with them, we would have suffered more casualties than this. I must extend thanks to Rayson.
My Lord Ike, I'm pleased to see you well. You haven't been injured, have you?
Princess Alencia, I'm fine. I'm unharmed.
Oh, that's good. Ike, may I have a word? And if you don't mind, Princess Alencia, would you join us as well? Please join me in that building. What could it be?
Let's go see.
This is...
holy.
Incredible, no? It's gold, all of it.
Daein must be filthy rich. There's so much, it doesn't even seem real. What do we do with it? It's the spoils of war, so naturally it's ours. In that case, I'd like to borrow 50,000. Would that be all right?
That's a lot of money. What are you planning on doing?
It's a private matter.
I apologize, Commander. You're not a child. There's no reason for me to pry. My Lord Ike, please use this gold for the mercenary company. Until now, I haven't had the resources to adequately pay them, so please.
No, if I may borrow the 50,000, that will be more than...
You won't borrow it. You'll accept it, and in good faith. The remainder we'll give to Soren for company maintenance. Would that be all right, Princess Valencia? Yes, of course.
General Petrine? Please, General, I'm just a messenger. However, I have to tell you.
I already heard, you dunderhead. I hated those filthy crows right from the start. Even so, to be betrayed in such a fashion. Someone will pay for this. Oh, you certainly had your way with us, didn't you, King Kilvis? But if you want to make an enemy of Dan, then so be it. Once Gallia has fallen, we'll turn our attention to your puny nation and wipe it off the face of the earth. Why are you still here? Do you find me amusing? Shall I make my lance dance for you?
No, ma'am. No, never. No, not at all. I beg your pardon. So sorry, I'll be going now.
Dog's breath. I need something, a brilliant plan. If this continues much longer, the king will have my head.
You wanted to see me? You've waited a long time. Take this. It's the gold you were promised. Finally scrapped it together, eh? I'll gladly accept it. Aren't you going to count it? There's no need. I trust you. All right. Then I'll take what was promised, the report you wrote for my father. There isn't one. What? There is no report. Never was. You lied to me? You exploited my need to know more about my father? There is something I must tell you. However, it could not be written down. It is too great of a secret for that. Your father told me to wait until I thought you were mature enough to hear it, and then to tell you that myself. Mature? Then what was the 50,000 gold for? Ah, the gold. That was my idea. I thought it would be a good way to test how resourceful and responsible you were. Get started. I want to hear it all. I spent a long time in Grail's hired shadow. A long time. I remained hidden from sight in case the day ever arrived that I needed to fulfill my contract. All that time for one job. What was it? If Grail were ever to go berserk, I was to stop him. I was to take his life. What? Actually, there was one other thing. If Grail were ever slain by his pursuers, I was to watch over his son and tell him Grail's secret at an appropriate time. That was my job. Berserk? What are you talking about? Why would you have to kill my father? Because of Leiron's medallion. What medallion? What are you talking about? The medallion your sister carries. Huh? That old bronze thing? I thought it was just a keepsake of my mother's. Are you telling me that it's something more? Grail told me it was an object of great peril, but nothing more. I did some investigating on my own, though. And what I discovered surprised me. Tell me. Leiron was one of the Huron clan, an ancestor of our Prince Rayson, who carried with him a bronze medallion. Long, long ago, a band of heroes defeated an evil god and imprisoned it therein. An evil god? Do you think this is funny? You are joking, aren't you? Unfortunately, I'm not. And I have no idea how the cursed thing came to be in Grail's possession. That being said, I do know that the men who hunted your father were actually seeking the medallion. Why they wanted it and what they planned to do with it, just thinking about it gives me chills. I'm finding all of this a little hard to believe. You said the medallion was an object of great peril, didn't you? Then why would my father allow Miss to carry it around? That doesn't make any sense. It's because she can carry it safely. Actually, she's the only one who can. If you want proof, think back. Have you ever once touched it? No, I haven't. A long time ago, I remember reaching out for it while Mist had it in her hand. My father scolded me harshly. After that, I assumed it was my sister's alone, and I never reached for it again. Compared to other people, the balance within your sister is extremely strong. Your mother, it seems, was the same. That's why they could bear it safely. The medallion is like a strong poison. It takes the worst aspects of a person and magnifies them 1,000-fold. Grail touched it only once, and it drove him to complete madness. So that's what you meant when you said he went berserk? That's right. Bjork and Leguz are made up of two forces, balance and chaos. In this, there is no difference between us. It is the proportion of balance to chaos that determines how much the medallion affects a person. In that sense, it predicts how much harm that person might do. Your father was one of the preeminent swordsmen of his generation. That day, after he touched the medallion, 20 soldiers had come for him. 20 highly trained killers. Your father barely broke a sweat cutting them down. Then he began attacking his neighbors, those who had taken him in, concealed his identity, and called him friend. He slew them one by one until your mother rushed in, thinking only to save her husband from himself. It was over in an instant. Your mother grabbed the medallion from his hand and stepped away from him. They say she smiled as he pulled his sword from her breast and forgave him as her life's blood spilled into the street. My father killed my mother? No, that can't be. It was the medallion. Its power is too great for any man, even one of your father's caliber. Me, you, if either of us touched it, I'm certain that we both would have been consumed by madness. When your father regained his senses, he tracked me down. It seemed he'd heard rumors of me some time before. He said he had need of someone like me. Closed-mouthed, skilled, and most importantly, willing to do any sort of work. Of course, after hearing what he wanted me to do, I turned him down. Grail was once a famed general. He was Sir Gawain, one of Daeins' 4 riders, and I recognized him at once. There was no chance someone like him would ever be able to stop me, or someone like me would ever be able to stop him. But you took the job anyway. Why did you change your mind? Grail had lost his life, and his grief was overpowering. To keep anything like that from happening again, he crippled himself. He slashed the tendons in his sword hand, so that he could not wield a sword again. I took the job only because he had become someone my skill could handle. And even then, he was still far stronger than most men. I don't know what to say. That is Grail's secret, as I know it. I now entrust to you the responsibility of seeing that the medallion does not fall into the wrong hands. Your sister must keep it. As my father lay dying, he told me to forget everything and live in peace. What did he mean? He didn't want you to lose yourself and go hunting for revenge, I suppose. He was killed much, much sooner than he ever expected to be. So my father's dying wish was for me to protect the medallion. If I can do that, everything will be all right. I believe so. At the very least, that must take precedent over everything else. I understand. One last thing. What is it? Do you want to hire me? In the event that you go berserk someday? If we make a deal now, you won't have to worry about it anymore. As for payment, I can take it out of the 50,000 you just gave me. What do you say? You can choose to hire or do not hire Volk. I believe at this point, because you've already heard the story, he's already come along, the 50,000 is gone whatsoever. I am half-minded to try this out and see whether this is the case. In fact, I'm going to do just that. I think it would be prudent to show off as much as I possibly can. When I do happen to make a video going over what happens with the medallion, or not really the medallion, the 50,000 gold in general, if you don't hire him the first time after the chapter, after chapter 10, I'm going to show off whether or not you keep the 50,000. Here, I'm going to do the same. If I do not hire him and I keep the 50,000, you can bet your bottom dollar I will be continuing not to hire him. With that being said, I am going to press don't hire. No, I don't think that's right for me. I see. What will you do now? I'll continue on as before. If you need anything, call me, that's all. Understood. All right, so I'm going to skip all this really quick. Going to save. Doesn't particularly matter. I'm going to be resetting. I am skipping literally everything because I want to see what happened. Ike, just a bit more. Yep, yes, I only got 70,000 gold. So I'm assuming that whether you hire him or not, at this point, you lose the 50,000 gold. I wonder if you do get the 120,000 gold. I need to check this. For the purposes, however, of this Let's Play, I am going to be hiring Volk. Because this allows him to be promoted, which means that he is capable of stealing and doing more things better, in my humble opinion. I did check, as far as I can tell from any site that you can look it up on, there is nothing categorized about what amount of gold you get if he is not recruited originally. So I am definitely going to be doing a video on this at some point, because I think this is very interesting. Something that I've never really seen before or heard of before. It's something that only came up in this very playthrough. I've never thought of it before. I've never thought, hey, you know, I would like to get 50,000. Please. That's a wise decision. And in that case, I can no longer need to conceal my true identity. Huh? His true identity of being an assassin. I'm not really a thief. I'm an assassin. From now on, I'll take on any job you've got, no matter how dirty. Father, Mother, oh, why? Now I'm going to save. The Kingdom of Daein lies on the northernmost edge of Tellius. Its coastline is bathed in the icy currents of the northern sea, and frigid winds howl inland with terrible ferocity. As a result, Daein winters are raw and brutal. Ice and snow scour the land, leaving frozen scars in their wake. Through these blizzards, General Ike and the Crimean army press ever forward. Begnion's Imperial Senate may have lent Crimea troops, but even they doubt that the army can successfully fight off Daein. Yet somehow, Ike and company defy all odds and capture victory after victory. Embracing both Princess Alencia's dream of a liberated Crimea and the tragic history of his parents, Ike marches in grim silence. Chapter 20, Defending Telrega. This can only mean one thing. The enemy knows exactly how we are going to move. With your permission, I'll begin an investigation to see if there's anyone suspicious among the troops. Ike? Ike, are you all right? Oh yes, sorry, what was it? Nothing. I was just giving you the standard update. Shall I put it off till later? No, sorry, but can you start over from the beginning? I'll pay attention this time. Understood. Good morning, you two. What's wrong, Ike? You don't look like you didn't sleep. I've had a lot on my mind. I meant to sleep last night, but I was up thinking. Before I knew it, it was morning. Really? I never thought I'd hear that. Ike didn't sleep because he was thinking? I wonder if Soren will start being polite. Listen, Titania, can I just... Brother Ike. What's wrong, Mist? What am I going to do, Ike? My medallion's gone. What? It's gone? No. What am I going to do? It was my only memento of Mother. Did you drop it or put it somewhere and forget it? Something like that? No, I always carry it with me. I would never lose it. I had it before I went to bed last night. It vanished while I was sleeping. Don't cry. It's not your fault. But... I said don't cry. I'll find it, all right? All right, sorry. Are you serious?
You are to begin immediately.
Yet, that's... General Petrine, if we do this thing, Daein will suffer.
It's for the good of the country. Besides, it's only one territory. Stop mewling like an old woman.
I hear you, and yet... If the goal is merely to stop the Crimean army, this is not necessary. The strength of my troops will suffice to...
The last idiot who told me that ended up on a corpse pile. Now listen to me, and listen well. No matter how passionate you are when you tell me you'll defeat Crimea, I'll never pin my hopes on a bunch of foreigners. All you have to do is stop their forward progress, that's all. My plan will accomplish this.
General Petrine, do you truly think so little of us? It's true that we were born in Begnion and not Daein, but my men and I have been loyal to this country for 18 years. We have spared no effort to learn all the proper manners and customs of this land. But now, after all that, to be dismissed as a bunch of foreigners?
No one asks how long you've lived here. Want to know why? Because no one cares. Certainly not me. Where were you born, huh? Where were you raised? Ha! This country doesn't need squatters like you. The only people Daein can count on in times of crisis are Daeins themselves. Everyone else is just gutter leavings.
So we're useless? Is that what you're saying?
You tell me, migrant. Why is it that your unit, which was trained to be an elite royal guard, is here patrolling this hick-infested backwater? The answer's clear to me. How about you? Oh, I'm sorry. Am I offending you? Well, here's your chance to show us your worth. Halt Crimea's advance. If you are as skilled as you claim, you should be able to limit the damage to its bare minimum, should you not?
With that grrr and sentiment, I think it is time to end this episode. She-Haram is right to be a little bit angry about what she is asking him to do. Going to be finding out next episode, in fact, what that is. But man, the foreigner hate in this conversation right now would not fly in a Fire Emblem game today. Too many people offended.
Am I offending you?
I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform of choice. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.